want to take a second before we start the video to go ahead and announce our September 1st giveaway. If you like, comment, and subscribe, you'll be entered to win this DJI FPV drone. This is the GEP RC Phantom HD. It has a Cadex Vista on here, a super tiny micro cam, 1105 series motors, carbon frame, 2.5-inch props, and it is a complete ripper. So like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and you'll be entered to win in a live stream on September 1st. So again, I thank you for subscribing and watching. Now on with the video. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out something brand new from Radiomaster. It is the brand new TX15, and it's different from the GX12 over here with Gemini X on there. But this one is a dual band radio. It can do 2.4 gigahertz or 915 megahertz. Has a single processor, but it has an H7 processor in there, which has 300% more processing power than previous versions of the Boxer and the GX12. So yeah, everything loads faster. It has a full color touchscreen on here and brand new version of Edge TX. It has an LR1121 Semtech transceiver, and it also has 4 gigabytes of flash storage built into it that's also expandable by SD card. Now, I got the Max edition, and this one has the AGO2 gimbals, but the standard version comes with the Hall gimbals on there. It also has the latest version of Elrs built right into the radio, 3.5.5. And I'm gonna throw up on the screen the various versions. The standard one comes in, it comes in a whole bunch of different colors, as well as the Max version, which comes in black, red, or gold. And you have the option to upgrade from the flat switches on the top of the transmitter. Like the Boxer, they do have the full-size switches available for converting those. But that's enough about the basic specs of this radio. Let's take the TX15 outside, let's fly it, and then let's come back to the bench and look at it together. All right, my friend, let's go ahead and fly the TX15, and let's talk about the way it feels in my hands. It feels very similar to the Boxer. The size is good. I don't know if you've flown a mid-sized transmitter before, but it really does feel like you have something that you can hold on to. And the good thing about it is it's not as big as a TX16, and it's not as small as something like the Zorro or the Radiomaster Pocket. So I don't feel like it's too small in my hand. This, for me, has always been the perfect size radio. As far as the Boxer, the TX15 is only a little bit bigger. So the grip and the feel and the way the AGO2 gimbals feel, they feel really snappy, responsive, and it's letting me like freestyle pretty close to the ground. And the AGO1s, honestly, like I don't know if you would see a huge difference unless you were a really experienced flyer. But I will tell you that there will be definitely a benefit versus the Hall gimbals. I feel like these are smoother, the bearings work a lot nicer, and it just feels like a better overall experience. You would have to try them yourself kind of back to back to know the difference, and fly them for some time. But they are really smooth, really responsive, and it almost feels like the rates have been extended a little bit higher on this quad. It feels like really snappy and responsive again. Like, it feels good to me. So I do like the size of it. And if you were to get a Boxer and walk up to me and swap this radio out with a Boxer, I mean, would I definitely notice the difference? It would be hard for me to tell without seeing what I'm flying. So, I mean, even though these AGO2s feel pretty smooth, it's going to be beneficial because they're definitely going to feel smoother than the Hall gimbals. You know, at the end of the day, if you're a brand new pilot, is it going to make you a better pilot? Probably not, because you're going to have to do a lot of practice to be able to fly well, transition from one thing to the next, and become a really awesome freestyle pilot. Just takes time. And so I'm going to just go for the dive of death here, just for the fun of it. And we usually don't make this dive sometimes, and there we go, we crash. But it was fun to fly it for you and just give you some honest feedback. All right, my friend, welcome back from the flight test. Let's go ahead and check out what this is all about. It is very different than the Boxer. So if you're wondering right away, like, is this different than the Boxer? What's different? Well, I'm going to show you, I'm going to compare it, and we're going to talk about the changes to the TX15, the upgrades, if you want to consider that, versus the Boxer. And some of the biggest differences are on the side of the box. It does have the newest version Edge TX Elrs on there, as well as a 3.5-inch touchscreen, which is pretty cool. It also has built-in LED lights across the whole front of this radio that are already embedded into it. So if you get the Max Edition, you're going to get that. You can change the colors of the LEDs as well too, which is pretty cool. You also have kind of multicolor lit up LEDs on the function buttons in the front as well. And again, pretty nice bright screen that you can see during the day. It's much different than the Boxer's LCD screen. The next thing we have is the H7 STM32 H750 microprocessor in here, much faster. And we have the LR1121 in there as well, which is going to make it dual band, but don't get it mixed up because it's not like the GX12, which does Gemini X. True dual band would be 2.4 on two separate bands at the same time, or mixing up 2.4 and 911, 915 megahertz. This one actually does one or the other, even though it's still considered dual band because it can operate your 915 receivers and your 2.4 receivers that you have laying around. So that is what's kind of cool, because for years and years, I've had the problem where I have a 915 receiver on one quad, and then I've got 2.4 on the other. Speaking of ELRS receiver, now that's one of the things that makes this radio nice, is the fact that this one, the original Boxer, is locked into, say, 2.4 ELRS, so I can't run any of my 915 ELRS receivers on this unless I put a module in the back, and then I am able to fly it on a 915 ELRS module. So hopefully you're following me so far. This just consolidates all of that and adds 2.4 and 915 in the same radios, fly all your ELRS receivers. Now, as far as the physical changes to the case of the TX15 on the left and the Boxer on the right, this is an older style model case, but it is a little tiny bit smaller. It's a little, not quite as tall as the TX15 on the left, and it does have some changes as far as the screen goes. We have the full touchscreen color screen on the left, and then we have the LCD screen, which is kind of, some people prefer this one because it's not a touch screen, but it does conserve the battery life. So maybe the Boxer runs a little longer versus this full color screen, which is a fairly efficient screen, 3.5-inch touchscreen. But we'll have to see in our testing how that works out. I would probably recommend going with the 6,000 milliamp battery if you're going to run the TX15. Now, as far as the buttons go versus the Boxer, the TX15 has something hidden that you can't see. And what Radiomaster did with this version is they decided to give you guys 3 position switches all the way across the top. So every single one, SA, SB, SC, and SD, are now all 3 position switches. They removed all the 2 position switches off there. The Boxer has SA, which is 2 position, and SD over here on the right hand side, 2 positions. So on the Boxer, you only have 2 3-position switches on there. So some people may like that. Just right out of the box, you're getting a little more functionality to your switches. Now, as far as the bottom layer switches, all that seems to be a little bit the same. So we have the jog wheel, which is the same. We have the system button, which has a little bit of a recess to it, so it kind of feels good on the thumb. You can feel that you're making contact with that. And the return page, forward and backwards, and telemetry buttons are all pretty much the exact same from the Boxer to the TX15. Now, looking from the top down, we have some differences on the top as well. Some I like and some I'm not a big fan of. I do like the fact that this is an aluminum top plate here for my arm switch on the Boxer. They have been removed on the TX15, maybe to make it a little bit cheaper, but these are plastic and they seem to be not quite as deep as the Boxer version. So you can really feel that that goes down pretty deep on the frame. And this one is just a little more shallow. This one's probably a little bit easier to accidentally hit. Unless you want to convert it over to the full-size switches, you can do that. And the other functions on the top of these radios seem the same, but they also made it easier for you to find and read them, where they don't have any type of paint where it says DSC here. They're pretty much the same. It just has DSC painted on the TX15S, which makes it a little easier to read, as well as the USB spot. They clearly labeled everything there, and the headphone jack, same thing. And one other thing, I'm not sure if you're paying attention or not, but you might have noticed, you might not have noticed, is the antenna here. This one is a removable style antenna, but it does not fold. And for a long time, that's kind of bothered me about the Boxer. On the TX15, they have a foldable antenna, so you can bring that down. Makes it much easier to put it in and out of the case. And while you only saw it go horizontal, it's also tiltable, so you can turn it on the vertical if you want to. Now, on the back of both these radios, there are some major differences, and there are some things I like and don't like about the TX15. It does have rubber grips back here, and it's kind of cool because it has kind of a three-blade prop texture on here, which is kind of neat, kind of a nice little detail. It feels good in the hand, and this one has more of a kind of a sort of a tapered, rounded type of case on this one. It also has a very large battery bay in here, but I'm yet to determine whether the 6,000 milliamp battery can fit in there, but I will test that before the end of this review. And it goes back on like this, and it also has a strap, and this is the Max Edition. So I would hope that the Max Edition of the TX15 would come with a kickstand like the Boxer has. Now, this may be an additional upgrade, but I love the way that this comes out like this. It's retractable and expandable, and it just lays on the bench really nicely. When you're using the strap, sometimes in a way I feel like it gets in the way, and when you lay it down on the bench, it's going to be more like this versus a little higher up. And again, you can adjust this to be the height that you want it to be. And as far as the back of the GX12 too, this one has rubber grips, but it has the smaller module bay on here. And it does have a pretty good sized battery bay on this one, but it does not have any type of kickstand on the back of this one either. So I did take the strap off because it was momentarily pressing my switches on accident. Sometimes it would get caught a little bit too close to these smaller switches on the GX12. And this was the 6200 milliamp battery I was just talking about, and indeed it does fit inside the TX15, and the back plate will go on also. So that is really good news that that fits inside this radio, because with that larger screen, you're definitely going to need the extra battery size. And to be quite honest, I have been running the 6200 LiPo from Radiomaster for over a year now, and I really rarely have to charge this one. It's really nice. It runs a long time. And I think if you're running that full color 3.5-inch screen, you're going to want to upgrade to this. So I'll try to find some of these in stock. They stay out of stock a lot of times because a lot of people want this battery. And the Lions are okay, which I guess the good side of these is that you could find this size Lion pretty much anywhere to use in this style battery pack. Now, one thing to mention about this radio is that it doesn't come with a battery, nor does the Boxer or the GX12. Now, one of the special things that Radiomaster did in the past couple versions of their radios is remove two USB ports. It used to be on the Boxer that there was a charge and a firmware style USB port, and some people were getting that confused. So it was nice that Radiomaster consolidated both of those ports into one USB port now. So the same firmware update USB port is also the charging port on the TX15 as well as on the GX12 here. So the Boxer had one on the top and on the bottom, if some of you guys remember, to charge it. So a little bit different setup of kind of making the Boxer a little more old school now compared to the GX12 and the TX15. And one important detail of this Max version radio, you're going to get what you pay for, because you're going to get the AGO2 gimbals on here. They are all aluminum. They feel really nice and responsive. The resolution's very high, and when I was flying it today with this brand new Whoop, it felt really, really good on the sticks. I also have some upgraded, what I call thumb couches that I put on mine. This is from a company called Bestum Aerial, and they just slide right over the top, and it gives my thumb a proper seat to sit in, making it kind of really responsive for freestyle, and I barely ever lose track of where my stick is. So one thing I wanted to show you too was the startup time. I'm gonna go ahead and press the power button. It starts up within a couple seconds. It's pretty fast to the main screen. Once you're on the main screen, you can either use the buttons to do navigation, or you can now do the touch screen, which is kind of nice. Throw you into all those different menus. We can also change themes, and now they have a whole bunch of themes in the system menu. So press the system menu, hit that little paintbrush at the top. And if you want to select any of these, look at all the different themes in here. Kind of cool. So if I want to select something like the Bonafide Pirate there, press and hold, you'll see this menu pop up and it'll set active there. So now when we go back out, we'll be set to the Bonafide Pirate theme there, which is kind of cool. If you want to change around the settings, that's kind of an easy thing to do. You can change all kinds of things in here like color, background color, fill color, size, and you can select to use the theme color. But you know, you can change these things around and make them your own, which is kind of one of the coolest things about the Edge TX style system here. So we can change everything from the model name in the model menu, obviously go in here, and now we have a full-size keyboard, which is cool. I'm just going to type in Justin here real quick and see how that does. Press the check button down at the bottom right, and now it should say Justin on the main screen. So it makes navigation a lot more intuitive and a lot faster to be able to find things really quickly. And also right now you probably have, you know, almost unlimited models with this, with the SD card expansion. So I mean, you probably don't have as many models as you could put on here. For even up to 4 gigabytes will the internal flash memory is quite a bit of memory in here. So I'm still using the page forward button and page back buttons here on the left, and that's just kind of what I've been using since the beginning of time. But that for me is not letting me make mistakes when I use my fingers up here. So if I want to go back into the system menu too, I'll show you real quick in the version we're using, Edge TX15 there, version 3.0, and the internal Elrs module is using the TX15 Radiomaster version of their own firmware, which is kind of cool. So that one is version 3.3.5 Elrs. And this radio is ready to go with any types of crossfire modules. If you want to put one in the back and it accepts it inside the JR module bay, you can also use crossfire modules with no problem on this radio. So, I mean, at the end of the day, is it going to replace my GX12 or is it going to replace the Boxer? Not necessarily, because this is a great entry-level radio. If you're looking at, say, around $100 for a nice mid-size radio to get into FPV with, this will pretty much do anything you need it to do with Elrs on there outside Gemini X. And most of the guys that aren't flying long range, you don't really need dual band Gemini X unless you're trying to fly at a really far distance. So that's kind of what the GX12 is for. And again, it's nice because it is small and compact. I do like that a lot about the GX12. And if I want to put something, say on a fixed wing, this would probably be the radio I'd pick up to do any type of long range fixed wing type of aircraft. The GX12 is going to be for that. Now, somewhere in the middle is the TX15. It has newer upgrades than the Boxer, foldable antenna, still has the large battery bay, full-size JR module on the back, accepts crossfire, has the brand new version of Elrs on there, and it has 3 position switches all the way across the top, which I do like. And it's they say it's about 300% faster than the Boxer. So you do get that speed update as far as making changes inside the operating system. It starts up in about 2 seconds time, which is pretty fast. I will have to see how long the battery life is though. So I'm skeptical. We'll have to see how long that battery life lasts, because going back to my TX15 or TX16S, which is always down here to my left, it may have a shorter battery life, because the TX16S, the original full-size radio, some of you guys may remember with the full-size touchscreen on that one, which was upgradable, that one had a less battery life than the Boxer. And when I switched over to the Boxer with a 6200 battery in there, that just became my everyday type of radio, because I barely ever had to charge the 6200 in this radio. So I did steal it out of that one and put it in the TX15. So we'll have to see how often I have to charge this battery. But I'm happy that I can now use this same radio to run my 2.4 Elrs receivers or my 915 receivers. Thank God for that, because this baby over here is only doing 2.4 unless I put a module in it. So don't have to do that anymore with this one. I can fly whatever as long as it's not the Gem X stuff. So pretty cool. That's what's new from Radiomaster this week. You guys can check it out down in the link below. And hopefully you learned something today in this video about maybe some of the big differences between these two other popular radios, and you found some value in that. If you did, please join our Patreon. I'll put a link down below to that, as well as our links. It always benefits the channel. And again, I hope you had fun flying with me today too, with the TX15. Brand new, guys. Thanks again for watching the Drone Camps channel, guys. I'm Justin Davis. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.